Well, you made it to the very final lesson in our secondary literacy course, which is Beyond the Playbook. So at this point, we have gone through every chapter in the playbook, and ideally all of our students now know how to read. We've done all the things and they know how to read and they are comprehending everything they read. However, that is not where literacy learning stops. There are so many more skills that are needed once we get beyond the ability to read. Okay, so the first thing that we need to keep in mind, that once students know how to read, once anybody knows how to read and they can comprehend what they're reading, there are different purposes for reading, and each of those different purposes have different skills that are needed that are beyond comprehension. So if we are just reading for fun, if we're reading for information, or we're reading for analysis. Reading for fun would be reading independent reading books, just doing like reading logs, just I read a certain amount of time, just reading on their own time for fun. These should be books and activities that they're interested in. For informational purposes, this would be reading for your textbooks, reading articles to get information from, any sort of study, any informational text, any nonfiction text. Reading for analysis, this would be our poetry, our fiction, our novels, where we're trying to figure out what is going on, what are the deeper meanings, what inferences and analysis can we make, right? So each of these different purposes for reading have different skill sets that our students need to be able to use. And I know I'm jumping to the very end of this, but literacy is not just for reading, it's for competency in all different areas or different areas of interest. For example, if you put a car manual in front of me, I will say, first one to say, I'm going to be illiterate. I will not understand one word in that thing. Well, I'll understand the words, right? But I won't understand the context. I won't be literate in that area and have any idea what's being said. So we have our different purposes, but also we have different specified areas that students can be literate in or illiterate in. And just because a student is extremely literate overall doesn't mean that they will be literate in every area, right? So there's some skills that are still needed to be taught once students understand comprehension. The ability to scan text, skim text, we'll talk about that more in a minute. The ability to take notes, the ability to track information, the ability to annotate. When you get into college, higher, even in high school, right, in junior and senior years, and you're reading textbooks because you have to study for a test, how do you do that? Do you read every word? Do you memorize every word? No, that's not how we best study. So we need some skills that are beyond comprehension to be able to do those things. So as usual, I'm going to go through the general umbrella of literacy when we think about these beyond the handbook skills. Playbook, sorry. So in the Scarsborough reading rope, basically all of the skills that we learned in the playbook are all the strands. These are all the strands. But you'll notice that once we have all the strands here in the middle, they're pretty loose. They're not like necessarily tightened. And as you go on, it just keeps twisting and becomes a really solid rope. So once all of those strands are solid, the connection of all of those together is where we really need to focus on our students in teaching literacy. This is where we need to draw on background knowledge with our students. This is where the habits of mind become increasingly important. And I'm going to actually show you those in a moment, because the habits of mind are all of the mind skills, all of the thinking skills that students are going to need once they have the content, right? So like once they have the ability to read, once they know information, what do they do with that information? What if they run into an issue? What if they get something wrong? What if they struggle? What do they do? So the habits of mind also become something that needs to be taught once we get beyond comprehension. And I will show you those in just a minute. But when we're looking at the Bloom's taxonomy, right, comprehension is really just this understanding level. This is just remembering, understanding. That's where we're at in our reading ability, if we can comprehend. Yes, every time you learn a new word in comprehension, you kind of have to go through Bloom's taxonomy. You need to be able to apply that word to other books that you read it in, and things like that. But you're still just in your reading skills, in your literacy skills, we're just sort of at understanding, right? That's comprehension. But if you're reading for fun, you are fine. Just comprehension's fine if you're reading for fun, right? But if you're reading for informational purposes, to study, to learn from, you need to be able to apply that information to what you're learning. If I'm reading a manual for how to take apart my car to fix something on my Wrangler, which I probably wouldn't do very well, I need to be able to apply that to actually fixing my car then. Even if I'm watching a YouTube video about how to fix something on my car, sometimes I watch a video and I'm like, how do I do that? The ability to apply that information in real time. That is important when you are reading for informational purposes. But you also need to be able to evaluate, because if you're reading for informational purposes, you're probably going to have multiple types of information that you could get with the same information, right? Different articles on the same topic, etc. So our learners need to be able to evaluate which information is better, more quality. We know this with research, right? We want our learners to choose quality websites if they're going to use websites in their research, and not just like use Wikipedia, or not just Google it and say, oh, I'm quoting Google. Well, that's not a site. So the ability to evaluate the information is really important in informational reading. And when we're reading poetry, if we're reading novels, we need to be able to analyze, right? We need to be able to analyze, evaluate, and create. So when it comes to reading for that purpose, to be able to write an AP essay on a piece of literature, for example, you're going to need all of the higher order thinking skills in this case. So when we are talking about literacy, once we have learners that can comprehend and they have all of their skills, we really need to start adapting those skills into these more specified areas and these higher order thinking skills. And as they get more complex, as we saw earlier in the playbook, it said that you learn to read, and then at some point you're reading to learn, right? So once you're doing that, you have to be able to apply these higher order thinking skills, because the texts become more complex. The texts don't just like stop at that level of you being able to read. No, we get more complex sentence structures, we have more complex vocabulary, and that doesn't stop. It doesn't matter how good of a reader you become, unless you have somehow memorized the dictionary, you're going to end up running into a word or a phrase you're not really aware of or what it means. So you have to be able to use these higher order skills to understand those. This is the habits of mind. And I have a link for you in the resources to these as well. But I wanted to show you them so you sort of understand what I'm talking about when we get into this higher level reading ability, right? So persistence is a habit of mind that's incredibly important in higher reading, in higher literacy, because when you run into a word or concept that you're unaware of, it doesn't make sense to you, are you going to persist, or are you going to give up? Are you going to have that impulsive to see, forget this, I don't care, right? Can you think flexibly? Can you decide that this is different than that and why? Applying past knowledge to new situations. Responding with wonderment and awe. That one I think is one that is undervalued as a habit of mind. But when you attack something that maybe seems confusing, scary, maybe even makes you irritated, if you respond to it with like, this is a new thing, this is something I'm going to be curious about, I wonder about it, then your chances of learning from that increase significantly, right? I'm not going to go through all of these with you, but you can see them, this ability to use your thinking skills here is going to be required in every content area as our secondary students grow in their literacy. Okay, so some considerations for the adolescent brain, right? So students may not be able to find information in a text, take notes, find evidence, etc., even if they can read. So this goes back to that idea that once you are competent as a reader, that doesn't mean that you can study what you read. You can apply that to other information, that you can take notes. You might not know how to scan. So one downfall that I've even fallen into as an educator is just assuming that students know how to scan to find information. Just find the word. Well, then they're rereading the entire paragraph or the entire chapter, and I'm thinking, well, why are you rereading the whole thing? Just scan. Well, I failed to realize that that student didn't know how to scan yet. That wasn't a skill that they learned, because that is beyond comprehension. That's a new skill, right? So don't assume that just because a child can read that they can find evidence in a text, that they can scan, that they can take notes. These are skills that require the ability to scan and skim as opposed to just rereading the entire text. Keep in mind that those habits of minds I just showed you are all skills that adolescents struggle with. These are the things, and I'm going to go back just to show you for a second. These are the skills that as their prefrontal cortex develops, they will get better at. So these are new skills. They are things that they will be struggling with, and they're not going to be able to do these automatically, okay? Think back to our toddler days, or when you've had your own toddlers, if you've had your own toddlers, right? They really struggle with persisting, managing impulsivity, all of these things, and we sort of teach them when they're young, but then they hit adolescence, and as we already know, adolescent brains are very similar to toddler brains. Their brains are drastically changing, so their ability to do these skills drastically drops. Impulsivity is a huge one with adolescents, right? So we need to be able to teach these skills along with literacy and anything else we're teaching. A lot of students kind of get this mindset, and you can tell the difference between ones that sort of have the habits of mind down, or at least are aware of their thinking and persistence and have some more resiliency in their thinking, and students that don't in the secondary level, because the ones that don't have those skills will tend to be the ones that say, I know how to read already. What is the purpose? Why do I need to keep reading? Why do I need to keep doing this? I know how to do it already. And so being able to read doesn't mean that they are literate in different areas. It doesn't mean that they can study text. It doesn't mean that they can take notes. It just means that they can read it. Well, if you can just read a textbook chapter, if you can't do anything with that information, then what is the point? If you can't study it, if you can't take notes on it. As I've said multiple times, adolescents really don't like feeling like they're wrong. They don't like being embarrassed. But as we get into these levels that are higher than just comprehension, they tend to feel embarrassed if they don't know how to do it. So just keep that in mind. Keep that, like, they don't care about this, they don't want to do this, in mind. You will have some students that will be able to persist because they have their habits of mind more intact, but a lot of students won't. So one big thing that we need to consider when we are teaching adolescents is we have to make it applicable to them. We have to think about, like, how can we relate this to their lives? Why do they need to learn this? And just because you do, or it's a part of the curriculum, isn't really enough. And students can learn things just because it's a part of the curriculum or it's a part of state standards, but they won't necessarily learn it as well or become literate in that area if they can't apply it to something in their lives that is meaningful to them. So some suggested activities across curriculum. This is really for anywhere. Practice reading for different purposes and make it clear the different purposes of reading. If students are just reading for fun or they're doing an independent reading book, let them know that they don't have to really do anything but just read. Remember the information, right? If they're trying to analyze it, make that clear. If they're reading a textbook and they're studying, make that clear. Teach scanning and practice scanning for no other purpose other than scanning. Don't assume that they know how to scan, right? Make it a scavenger hunt. Make it fun. Try to have them find certain phrases in the reading faster than their friends. Teach and practice note-taking, summarizing, and annotating. You can do that within your content area, but if that's the case, make sure that that's the focus. The skill is note-taking, summarizing, and annotating, not anything else at that point. Teach and practice finding evidence in a text. When the purpose is for informational, use note-taking and